Hallo und herzlich willkommen in einer Spezialausgabe des Trending Topics Podcast. Sie haben es geschafft, Salzwasser als langfristigen Speicher für Energie zu nutzen. Das niederländische Startup AQUABATTERY geht nun eine Kooperation mit dem österreichischen Energieriesen VERBUND ein, um diese Technologie auf das nächste Level zu heben. Wie AQUABATTERY funktioniert und wie es mit VERBUND die Energiewelt revolutionieren wird, darüber sprechen wir heute im Podcast und zwar im Doppelinterview mit Franz Zöchbauer, dem Bereichsleiter Corporate Innovation und New Business bei VERBUND und mit Jiajun Cen, den Mitgründer von AQUABATTERY. Und um dieses Interview zu führen, wechseln wir jetzt auf Englisch. Welcome Franz and welcome JJ to the podcast.
Yeah, hi, great to be here. Jakob, thanks for the invitation.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be speaking.
Awesome to have you both here in the podcast today. I would like to start with you, Franz. So right now there's a lot of hype around battery storage in the energy tech space. From your point of view, what's the future role of battery storage? What role does long-term energy storage technology play in VERBUND's overall vision for sustainable energy?
Thanks, Jakob, for this intro questions. Before I like to speak about the future role of battery, I think we should have a broader look in the context of this question, in the context of climate protection and the whole energy transition. And these are one of the most pressing challenges in our time and for our society. Consider some facts we see when we look at the state of climate. According to the Copernicus report, 2024 is on track to be the hottest year ever recorded. So the global average temperature for the past 12 months has already been the highest for any 12-month period in history. If we look on the state of the energy transition, the IEA in Paris published the latest World Energy Outlook a couple of weeks ago. And here for 2024, global energy investments are projected to exceed $3 trillion for the first time in history. Out of these $2 trillion are going to clean energy, technologies and infrastructure, and one to fossil fuels. 10 years ago, the ratio was reversed. So a remarkable progress in just 10 years. But that's not enough. We're having focused maybe too much just on increasing renewable power generation. And now it's really urgent that we adopt a more holistic, a more systematic perspective of the energy transition. And in this context, the topic of energy storage and long-term energy storage plays a central role. And if you look on the different technologies in the power sector, last year battery storage was the fastest growing energy technology, and with deployment more than doubling on a year basis. If you look to Germany, in the field of decentralized energy storage, it increased from 100,000 units in October 2019 to 1.5 million units in October 2024. So an increase by factor 15 in just 5 years. If you look at the projections of the IEA for the next 5 to 6 years on the global amount of global installed battery, they have also a projection of this increase of 9 to 15-fold by 2030. So a really massive increase in battery storage. And that's also what we need, because otherwise it's not possible for us to have a secure energy system on the basis of renewable energy. And here, long energy duration storage becomes a vital role. And technology companies like AQUABATTERY are really at the forefront of this change. So it's really an important issue for us at VERBUND. We have a long history in storage with our pump storage and hydro plants. And now it comes to the next level. Which other technologies came in really to further push the renewable energy transition?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So we definitely can see the importance of energy storage these days and for the next years to come. I would like to ask JJ, would like to find out how AQUABATTERY works. Can you explain how this acid-base-flow battery technology works? Like for laymen like me, why did you choose salt water as the primary medium for energy storage?
Thank you, Jacob, for this interesting question. Before I jump into that, I want to echo what Jacob said. This energy transition to renewables presents a very interesting but also massive potential for the world. We need storage in order to become a net zero civilization. And there are all kinds of forms, right? When we talk about batteries, most people think of lithium-ion batteries, which in our view is limited because they can only store energy for a short duration. So they can give power for, 2 to 4 hours, and then it becomes more expensive if you want to scale the duration. So having the batteries installed to deliver power continuously for more than 4 hours. And then you jump into a different realm where you can actually have new technologies, for example, storing energy in molecules to surpass that, to go for a much longer duration. So that is also where AQUABATTERY comes in. So what we do, our technology focuses on storing renewable energy using just water and table salt, so sodium chloride. When people say about salt water, there are a lot of things that can be called salt water. Even lithium dissolving water can be called salt water. But in our case, it's sodium chloride, literally the stuff you find in your kitchen. So what we do is a very simple experiment that you might have done when you're at high school. When you have an acid and you have a base, there is a acidity difference or pH difference. Now might have done that experiment where you mix the two together. The solution that forms feel a bit warm. There's energy stored in acid and base. Now, what makes AQUABATTERY unique? We spend time developing a device which we call a membrane stack. So literally, it's membrane technology. Think of a lot of layers of polymers stacked on top of each other and squeeze into a stack. That is the reactor. That's the core of technology. So what we do is we develop the methods where we can use excess energy, electricity from solar or wind, during the charging phase, feeding salt water in the system and make acid and base. So you basically create energy that we store in separate tanks. Now, as these two streams of acid and base do not interact with each other when they are stored in separate tanks, the energy is always conserved. Unlike, for example, your phone, when you turn it off, you leave it for a week, half of the battery is gone. That doesn't happen in our case, right? It's stored until the moment that you need to get the energy out. Now, we have developed the stack as such so that it's also reversible. You can mix the acid and base together to form salt water again, and you have electricity coming out. Now, this is the smallest unit we have. So what we have done is take the stack, put it into a container. Think of a sea container you see in big ships, and that forms a module. So our solution is a modular solution that we can ship to locations where you need energy storage. Think of solar or wind parks, but also behind a meter at large industrial or commercial facilities where you need storage. And locally, buy a water tank, get some water, get some table salt, and start storing energy. So that is what AQUABATTERY is. And this makes it concept also very scalable. Should you need more power, right? So you need to charge or power more systems at the same time, just buy more of these modules, more containers. Should you need more energy stored, then you buy a bigger water tank or maybe a water bag. And that is what is interesting of this type of technology, which is called a flow battery. You can actually scale these two things independent of each other. If you need more power, more stacks, more power modules. If you need more energy, bigger tanks or bigger water bags.
Okay, that sounds very, very, very promising. If you compare that to lithium-ion batteries in terms of cost and safety, what would you say? What are the main differences?
So lithium is not abundantly available everywhere. For example, lithium being mined in Europe is about 0.1% of the world supply. Most of them comes from Australia, come from China, and that makes it difficult for Europe to build up its own supply chain. So it's not abundant. And you also need other materials in lithium-ion batteries, for example, cobalt. And those are minerals that are critical and not very environmentally safe in mining these material. So that's why we selected something that you can find anywhere, literally in everyone's home, but also any industrial site you will find sodium chloride. And water, you can also find it everywhere. So that makes its concept very scalable. That's where we started from.
Mm-hmm. What inspired you and your co-founders to start AQUABATTERY? Was it the experiment in middle school you just described? How did you came across the idea?
Yeah, so we were at a competition invited by large corporates who were making membranes, and they were asking us, okay, we make these membranes, so can you do with them? So we figured out, okay, we can do some chemical reactions with energy, but most of the chemical processes, me as a chemical engineer knows, we can reverse it, right? So it forms a battery. And what really inspires us is that, we can also use table salt, and that's something that's not been done before. And this solution, as I said, is abundantly available. It's not toxic. It's also very safe. There's no explosion or fire hazard coming with table salt. So that is what inspired us to get started. And of course, on the road, there's many hurdles building a startup, starting from finding the right co-founder, building a team, getting the finance ready, building multiple installations to showcase technology, and at the same time also do R&D. So it is a lot of challenges on the road.
I see. Franz, how does Verbund see the potential of AQUABATTERY in terms of supporting Austria's renewable energy targets?
In our perspective, AQUABATTERY could be part of the solution. It's really the issue that we need a huge range of storage facilities and capacity in the years to come. And my colleagues in our innovation department looked over 200 different technologies from over 69 different types, and we found AQUABATTERY as one of the most promising technologies. So we're working together in this partnership with AQUABATTERY. And Austria is quite more ambitious than Europe in the field of renewable energy. Austria like to be 100% renewables in the power sector by 2030. And really are now building a lot of PV system, wind, also increasing our hydro production. So we also need these storage facilities. And here, that's an option for us. If we support AQUABATTERY in the development of the technology, that we also then can use it and scale it. That's one of the main tasks of our innovation department, to find the right technologies, so make testing, make pilots, and then we can recommend them to our business unit to then later the scaling. And that's our starting point of the partnership. We're now testing technologies and supporting AQUABATTERY, and then hopefully going down in scaling these technologies.
Okay, so JJ, congratulations! So your startup was chosen among 200 others, which I guess is a great accomplishment. Franz, what criteria does Verbund consider when selecting international projects and startups for collaboration? So AQUABATTERY is one out of 200. Why did you choose AQUABATTERY?
Now, first of all, if we're working together with young startups, really look to the team and are the right people, the right expertise, the right motivation and purpose to do it. Because if you have a new technology, you always have maybe to pivot the things or make change others at the original thought. And first, it was that we believe in the team. The team is capable to develop this technology and also bring it to the market. And then we have a lot of criteria in order to align the project with our overall Verbund strategy and our innovation targets. So it should be also as a technology which is scalable later on. We look at the materials the startup is using. I think it was perfectly described by JJ. That's really materials you found everywhere. So it's no raw materials. You're not dependent on imports from China or Africa. So you have it in your own environment. That's important for us. And also if we can build a business case around it. It makes no sense if you have excellent technology, but it's not competitive in the market. So it's really also the issue, what about the CapEx and OpEx? If the technology is then rolled out in the market, is it competitive in the long term or not? That's the reason why we are cooperating with AQUABATTERY, because we believe in the huge potential. And now it's really the phase so that we test all these criteria and learn on the projects we're doing together and the pilots we're doing together to bring the technology in the next level.
Okay. I think now there's a 12-month pilot phase for AQUABATTERY and the other partners, including Verbund. JJ, what specific outcomes are you looking to achieve during this testing period? So what's the main goal to prove in the next 12 months?
Yeah, so thank you for that question. That we really want to voice the need of long duration energy storage in the energy transition. And Verbund is an excellent partner where we do our best to co-develop and make sure that we have a sensible business case, but also technology that can solve the problems that we have in this energy transition. As we speak today, actually, we are at the COP29 happening in Baku. And we all know that in order to stay within 1.5 degrees Celsius global warming, we need a global mandate to focus on storage. And the need that's been provided by the Long Duration Energy Storage Council is 1.5 terawatt of storage. So I'm very happy that actually Verbund is looking at 200 solutions, but because one solution would not solve the problem, you need a whole collection of solutions. We are very happy to collaborate with Verbund, but also other partners in this consortium to do a few things. So number one, we want to showcase the feasibility of our LDES technology and plot the development roadmap. So having a technology is one thing, but having a product is another thing. So we need stakeholders like Verbund to tell us what are the requirements for a long duration energy storage technology in order to be successful implemented worldwide. Of course, to start in Austria, but worldwide later. For that, we need a sensible business case. So this is something that we built, and also we will generate data points. Think of performance, methods to optimize the system, how to reduce the cost, but also what is the supply chain look like? We mentioned, many supply chain for batteries, lithium-ion batteries come from China, but I strongly believe that AQUABATTERY, we can have a supply chain within Europe, perhaps even Austria. So that is something we are also have a vision to do. And the other thing is Verbund is a quite large company, right? So together with Verbund, it makes it easier for us to advocate for supportive policies to decision makers, right? So we are in the early stage of developing the long duration energy storage market. So currently is very few sensible business cases. We need that support from policymakers to create business cases to support the growth of long duration energy technologies like AQUABATTERY.
Absolutely. Verbund indeed is a very big and strong partner, and it also has a strong mission to support disruptive innovations. Franz, could you share some successful stories from the past with us? So you have done, I think, a lot of partnerships with startups. How did this play out in the last years?
Yeah, thanks for that question, Jakob. Yeah, Verbund has always been a pioneer when it comes to implementations of innovative solutions, and we try to be an early mover in starting new projects. For example, we did some early on projects on lithium-ion storage systems in 2017 with our Synergy project. We did also H2 Future project with voestalpine in the field of hydrogen. And we did, so I mentioned before, now we have a big innovation focus in the area of new storage technologies. So beside our cooperations with AQUABATTERY, we are doing some other pilot projects in a larger scale at the moment with some other companies, because as Jiajun said, it's a bundle of technologies we need to address this issue. And what's also new for Verbund is we're now doing also some startup investments. So we have found 2.5 years in Verbund Ventures. This year we did already 6 investments in startups. And so we're trying to build an ecosystem, because the challenges we have in the energy transition is really an ecosystem play. And we have strongly worked together, not only in Austria, also within Europe, globally, between different players, from the policy side to the big corporates to the innovative startups. It's really an ecosystem play. And so that's really glad that we have this cooperation here. And really hope that that's also a lighthouse project we're doing together. And in maybe 10 years, we're looking back and saying, okay, that was the right thing to do at that time. Even as you mentioned before, the market is not here yet now, but it really has to come, because we really need a market system that is providing incentives, and that the market is also in play 100% renewables. Yeah. Because at the moment we have really situations, for example, last year in Germany, we have about 300 hours with negative prices. It also makes no sense to curtail renewable energy, because you paid a lot, you invest a lot, and then you can't use it. And that's really the big game changer in my point of view, having new storage technologies ready to scale, really to make most sense of all the renewable capacity we have at the moment.
With the rise of wind and solar, power grids face new challenges. If you look at the technology of AQUABATTERY and other energy storages, how will they impact the grid reliability, especially for these renewable energy sources when they all come online?
I think that's crucial that we solve these equations, because in the last couple of years we just built renewable capacities. No? We put a lot of solar systems in place, a lot of wind turbines, but we haven't scaled in the same time on the grid, and we haven't scaled in the same time the storage capacities. And normally, you can build a PV system within weeks or months. Maybe a wind turbine with all the permits also within a couple of years. But for grid systems, you need a couple of years of permitting and then building. So it's really quite important that you do it in a holistic way and to balance how much assets you're building in the generation, how much you increase the infrastructure in the grid, and how much capacity in the field of new storage you're adding to the system. It also makes no sense you're just scaling the grid, but having no storage where you can store then the electricity. So it's really all about having a balanced approach and a systematic approach to answer this question, because it couldn't also be the solution just to build one part of the system and not the others. In Austria, for example, we have now a huge discussion coming up because of the whole grid fees are rising enormously from year to year. So there's an increase of 20-30% announced for next years. So it's really have a balanced approach and doing the right things at the right time and not waiting too long for new storage solutions and the grid expansion.
Absolutely. Yeah. My last question is, so you start now your partnership between AQUABATTERY and VERBUND. When do you think when we will see flow battery technology become really a mainstream solution? And of course, when will we see first AQUABATTERY? When will it go online in Austria?
Thank you, Jacob. So my view is as follows. I think traditionally grids are built for one-way traffic. You have a gas or fossil fuel powered plant generate electricity and you deliver energy through the grid to the users. Now with renewables, you are feeding energy in at different points. So in other words, the whole grid system needs to change. And for that to happen, we need to solve a couple of things. And the first one is frequency control. And that's something you can do with lithium-ion batteries, short duration, and you'll be fine. But as the penetration of renewables increases, so more and more energy from renewables, renewables are intermittent fundamentally. So in other words, in order to have a stable grid, you need storage. There's no way around it. And you can do, of course, through control through control of supply and demand, balance it a little bit. But at some point, long duration energy storage will play a crucial role in the transition. If you ask me about the timeline, it really depends how quickly we build up the renewables arsenal. If the penetration quickly exceeds 60-70%, then the need for long duration energy storage will be right there. So when it will happen, it depends on the rate. And if we are currently looking at the rate of renewables being installed, it's going fast. So I have good hope that within 5-6 years, we will see a strong uptake of renewables, of long duration energy storage solutions.
Okay. Franz, what's your take on that?
It's quite similar. I think also that new energy storage technologies, long energy duration storage will become mainstream within 5 to 7 years. Because we have no other option. Because otherwise we have to stop something increasing renewables, and that shouldn't happen. So I think within 5-6 years they will be mainstream. I hope at the time that AQUABATTERY is then one of these new champions in the field and providing solutions much needed for the society to be happy with the energy transition.
And do that with VERBUND.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Awesome. Also now looking forward to a very good cooperation between AQUABATTERY and VERBUND. Looking forward to really see the first batteries going online in Austria and all across Europe. Franz and JJ, thanks for the interview.
Yeah, thank you. It's a pleasure.
Thanks also from our side. Thanks, Jacob.
Great. Das waren Franz Zöchbauer, Bereichsleiter Corporate Innovation und New Business bei VERBUND, und Jiajun Cen, der Mitgründer von AQUABATTERY, über die neue Kooperation der beiden Unternehmen im Bereich von Langzeitspeichern. Vielen Dank fürs Zuhören und bis zum nächsten Mal.